So Brett, I wanted to ask you, how did you first know that you wanted to get involved with fitness? How did that all start?
I didn't really know, actually. I was 2 years old. I was a hyperactive kid, and my mom put me immediately into gymnastics. I mean, 2 years old. I could, like tumbling and all this. But the interesting thing, I really excelled at it. I was a natural at gymnastics, and I actually got so far as to being on a pre-Olympic team. But you know what the most interesting thing, wasn't all that glory or anything like that. What it did is it taught me that I was good at something. It built these roots of confidence that are irreplaceable, that now when I look back of why I went into this as a career, that had a lot to do with it. Also with my journey as being an overweight teenager, which I went from being great at sports from that young age to not even being picked on a team because I was overweight. So those very beginning years of I really thank my mom for just being like, we're going to put you in gymnastics and let you burn off some of the steam, was the best thing that could have ever have happened to me, for sure. Now, I'll give you another little story of, I was a pre-med, and I did not choose immediately fitness as a career. I had no interest, didn't even think I could do it as a career. I was like, Dr. Brett, Dr. Brett. So I remember going into New York sports after I graduated. I was living in New York City. I was a lab tech, and I was a broke lab tech. I couldn't afford a gym membership, so I was going on with my friend on like the 10th, free pass, guest pass, and the guy at the front desk pulls me aside. He's like, bro, you're that guy. You can't come anymore for free. Like, they literally pulled me aside and said, you can't come into the gym on another guest pass. I was like, wow. My buddy said, dude, you love the boxing class. You always come in for that. You've boxed, you've done martial arts. Why don't you teach the class? Like, are you crazy? I didn't have the confidence that I could do it. But they had the sidekick guy, the assistant. So I applied, and the head guy retired, and one of the younger instructors got promoted. He said, come to my class. I'll interview you. So I show up. I got like half a suit, my like clipboard and all this, and 20 extra people showed up, and the guy, I'll never forget, Ted Hoffman, says, I want you to teach with me. I'm like, what are you talking about, teach with me? So he gives me 2 focus mitts, and I'm like, but don't you want to see my clip? He's like, dude, teach with me. So I stand there. Now, I had used the focus mitts and done all this plenty of times just in boxing class, so it was fun. I had fun. I taught my own line. I did my own line drill. After class, he goes, you're hired. I'm like, you don't want to see my... He's like, I don't need to see anything on paper. What I saw was in person. You're hired. And it's like, man, life throws curveballs at you, and sometimes you sink or swim, and lucky... that day I swam, and so I got into the fitness industry not for a want. I got in for a need. I needed a gym membership, but I got to class early. I stayed late, so I would lab tech from 9 to 5, and then I would teach class at night. And I would get to class early. I was asking for more classes. I love staying late. When 5 o'clock hit at the lab, dude, whoop, pumped out. I punched out. I'm gone. But it appealed to so many parts of my personality and my being. It wasn't a job. This was like fun. So I ended up doing that at night. Fast forward 3 years later, I was doing all this stuff to get into med school, and I finally got in, and this weight got lifted off my shoulders, and I had a real epiphany of like, I had been doing the med school route more for my parents than for me, to prove something to them. And I eventually literally changed careers, and it was like a really tough conversation I had with my dad. Pulled him aside and said, I don't think I want to do this anymore. Now, I've been doing this hard, my friend, as an undergrad, post-grad. You put all this love into this, your parents' money, expectations, and then you're like, I don't want to do this. It was a very difficult conversation for me to have with myself, and then with my dad, who's like my biggest mentor, and he said, what do you want to do? And I was like, I have no clue. Nothing. Like, I don't know. Med school is very difficult, but it's like, take your MCATs, do this, then go to school, then, choose your residency. It's kind of laid out for you. I was like, no clue. Now, this is from a guy that could have gone and worked for private drug companies, made a lot of money, 3 times his salary, 4 times his salary, always stayed a professor at Princeton. Why? And I would ask him, because I'd see the suits try to give him more money, and he'd say, I don't want to work for them, Brett. I love my students, and I love my research, and I'm happy, and I can provide for you guys. Literally, this is what he'd say. Because I would be like, dude, the suits are here again. And he'd say, the money doesn't matter. I love what I do. So he sat me down and said, I'm going to give you one bit of advice, the only bit of advice I can give you, straight from the heart. Find something that you love to do, because it'll never feel like work, and the money will come or it won't matter to you. The money will come or it won't matter to you. And I'm sitting there going, he's lived that, and we've had a pretty good life. You know, yeah, did I mind driving around a used station wagon? Yeah, I did. But whatever. At the end of the day, we had a good life. So first thing that popped to mind, fitness. I could throw a ball before I could walk or talk. The gymnastics thing helped me lose weight. It was my freedom when I didn't think I could lose the weight. So I chose fitness, and I have never turned back. You know, and I say I basically chose passion over the paycheck, and that was a big one for me.
So what was your big break? What was the turning point for you after you first decided, all right, I'm going to do this, I'm all in? Like, how did that happen?
I was in New York. I started again as a boxing instructor, teaching group fitness boxing. Then I went into personal training, which was a huge thing for me because there's no science in group fitness. It really isn't. You're kind of a glorified cheerleader. Kind of got that skill, you don't. But training, there's a real science to training. Now, I had 7 years of pre-med. I'm like, what am I going to do with all this? When personal training came along, and there's physics and chemistry and biology and biochem and all this stuff, I was like, that really helped me. I knew I was going to do this as a career, but that helped me see the long term, because you may choose a career, but if you don't really see sometimes the light at the end of the tunnel, it can be a really tough, long, hard journey. So that made a big point. My big break, so I was teaching classes, doing personal training, and my business grew. I kind of have a knack for marketing to a degree. I noticed that my training clients were different than my group fitness clients, so I created 2 brands. Urban Motion was the original brand. It was the original class, and then I did more classes. And then Revamp became the brand of the training, and then I had sub-programs, Revamp for Brides, Revamp Jumpstart. So it grew, and I couldn't do all the training. I had to hire the trainers, and I started becoming an entrepreneur. I started outsourcing to other people. Well, then I really wanted to break into training more celebrities. I had a few, but a lot of the girls that I was training were in the fashion industry, and they said, you got to go west, man. You got to go to L.A. So I started going to L.A. the last week of every month, and that was a big expenditure. That was a quarter of my salary, plus the expense of car, hotel, all this stuff. It was quite an expense. And I started training their affiliates. So I was training, let's say, an agent in New York. Their parent company would be like CAA. In LA, I started training all these people in the entertainment industry, but they were like, oh my gosh, I want to train with you. I don't live here. So I started handing them off to a few other people. I'm going to say the one thing that you can't replace in any industry are your relationships. That's the key thing. It's all about authenticity and relationships. So I developed a relationship and friendship with a couple of trainers in LA, started passing them all my clients. One guy in particular said, hey man, why don't you open your own gym? You have your training, the trademark, the program. And I said, you guys know me as a trainer. I have actually more years as a group fitness instructor. I want to do videos. I want to do like Billy Blinds. I want to do an infomercial. And he said, one of my clients is like a bigwig over at Beachbody. I said, really? So we sent a little text about this class that I was actually teaching along with training in LA. It was a yoga capoeira fusion class, but a couple other things. She got back to that text like that and said, I've been wanting to do an infomercial like that. If this guy's doing this Brazil stuff, I want to meet him. And I was integrating Brazilian capoeira into my classes. Met her, done deal. I met with Beachbody, and that they offered me a deal for an infomercial. And that came from me passing on clients, doing a good job and giving it to a guy, and the guy having this connection to Beachbody. So relationships, not always what you know, it's who knows what you know. So anyway, that got me my really huge first break, which was with Beachbody. So I did an infomercial called Rev Abs with them, and that led to me having a real voice. I was working with big groups, and it just started pouring out of me. I was so inspired by watching these people change from my programming. And I had people doing great in my classes and personal training, but when you manage 60 people and you're doing all the nutrition and all the training, you get to really dial it in. And I dialed in my message, my inspirational message, and I lived it. And that connection with those people, they got incredible results. So that then got me a lot of respect in the community, but it got me respect for myself. Like, it really showed me, you know what you're doing, man. I knew what I was doing pre-med. Training, I've been been in it for a while, but sometimes you just need to be assured of yourself that you're not just talking the talk, you're walking the talk. So when I then, over the years, would cast for The Biggest Loser, I had an agent. How did I get that agent? I trained his cousin for her wedding, got her in incredible shape, had been in talking to this guy, and when he showed up for the wedding, he's like, dude, my cousin is ripped. What did you do? Again, relationships, doing a good job. After he saw her, he was like, all her hype is real. I'm going to send you out on stuff. Sent me out on Biggest Loser. Tried 4 years. Did not get a call back every year. Cattle call, no call back. What's going on? But they kept an eye on me. I found out later through the grapevine, and my agent the guy that was representing, I hadn't signed with him, got a direct contact with the casting director. And when I went out there, I was ready. You know, I was like the real deal to myself. Like sometimes you get an opportunity and you may not be ready. From the Beachbody thing, from all my training, from everything that I had been doing. When I sat in on that interview, and there were about 10 of them, I was like, I'm the real deal, man, and I can sit in this seat and tell you that 100% for sure. So, you know, I wasn't a 22-year-old kid, you know, whatever, like jacked up, male model guy coming in to like talk about fitness. I have been doing this for a long time. So I got that. I also knew Jillian through another trainer at the gym, and she really wanted to learn a new form of body weight and saw me training some of my clients in capoeira, and I actually started working with Jillian to a degree, but I did not ask her for the hookup. Later, she found out I had applied and was like, why did you not tell me? So I didn't want to hit you up, and I think that impressed her so much that I didn't try to use her celebrity to get in, that she then spoke to some of the people, or after I'd already sort of gone through and said, this guy's a real deal. And I remember one of the top people said, she doesn't give a lot of compliments to other trainers, and the fact that she's saying that of you, it's good. It's good stuff for you. I mean, we obviously saw you're real and saw you in person, but and you know what that is? That's authenticity. I wasn't trying to take her money or anything. It was just like I enjoyed training people and showed up and had fun. So that was the second big break for me, I would say. And luckily I didn't flop on the show. You know, I think I did a good job there. Is there a way to train for that show? Like, I certainly didn't know. I didn't train 400-pound people for a living at all. I was like a celebrity trainer. They were not 400 pounds. Pay me a lot of money. So I didn't have a ton of experience training those people. And it was like, that's a whole new group of people to try to do. Do I train with 5 cameras in my face? No. Trying to get those. When you train people, sometimes you have those heart-to-heart conversations, but not on the regular am I digging in and asking them about, like, literally their parents and stuff like that. That's not a normal trainer-client relationship. So I look back on my experiences as an overweight kid, as an adopted kid that didn't look like the parents, basically look back on my struggles. Those are the things that I didn't read out of a book, that you don't learn with a degree. Those are just like life's hard knocks. And I think I was emotionally intelligent enough to translate those on camera. And that got me a lot of credibility with the contestants and did a good job. And yeah, that was definitely a big break that I think led into where I am today with my current business.
That's awesome. So what are you working on currently then?
Well, now, okay, so I had to redefine my business and myself. I worked with NBC for Biggest Loser. I worked for Beachbody with Rev Abs. And I ended up going out on my own. Like, there were a lot of changes within the company, and I worked with them for a long time, but I'll be honest, like, the contracts were very limiting. And if you don't really hit it big with them, you can be stuck in a contract that won't let you do YouTube and won't let you do the X, Y, and Z. And things were really at that point where I had a lot of opportunity and I couldn't take them on. And I just sort of rolled the dice and said, look, I'm going to go out on my own and do this on my own. I believe I can do it. And I'm going to take all my investment, and instead of investing in other businesses, which I had been doing, I'm going to invest in this business, me. And I really believe that for anyone that's considering changing careers or being an entrepreneur, you're a current entrepreneur, your business and yourself is the thing that you should invest in. Absolutely 100%. Be smart about it, but invest in yourself. So I did that. So where the company is today, I was throwing all these brands. I had a Capoeira brand. I had the short workout, which was a 30-minute body first, then it became a 20-minute body. All these different things. You're like, the hardest thing is when they all stick, when they're all good ideas. And it's like, if you don't put 100% into one thing, not going to work. So what ended up happening is I got on another show that I did. I met who became a good friend and mentor of mine, JJ Virgin. She's a nutrition expert and was on the Dr. Phil show. Came in on a weight loss show I was working on to help out. She did an amazing job. Referred me to her book agent. She's like, why haven't you done a book? Referred me to Celeste Fine, great literary agent. And we started working together, and she asked me a great question. She said, I like the short workout idea. She could relate to it. I don't work out because I don't have enough time. So we went with that, and eventually my older sister is one of the main reasons it went from 30 minutes to 20 minutes. I would give her 30 minutes workouts, and finally, your clients are not doing the workouts when they don't email you anymore. They're not doing them, ladies and gentlemen. When they start texting you, then they're doing them. And my sister finally got real. She's like, first it was, hey, Mr. Big Shot Trainer, where are my workouts? I started giving to him. And I'm like, hey, sister, where's the emails? And she said, I'm going to be honest. 30 minutes makes me get up an hour earlier, and I'm not feeling it with the kids. Can you get me up only a half hour earlier? So it's a lesson. I don't care how good your program is on paper. If it doesn't fit into someone's schedule or their iPhone, it's not happening. So I cut them down. First I went opposite, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. She's like, no, too short. It's not hard enough. So then I did 20, and 20 was the sweet spot. Only got her up a half hour earlier. Can you believe that? That little thing was such a game changer in my business. So that was the brand I started doing. The literary agent loved it. We went to a publisher. They loved the idea. So now I asked them, can I do videos under the same name? They said yes. So once I got that and I knew I could do videos, workouts, under 20-minute body, I had a book deal. It was done. It was, now I know the brand that I'm going for, and that's was so key to have your team focus and me focus on one thing. So it became doing the videos first, and then the book was over a year later. That was the way the publishing schedule was. And we got clarity on the vision, which is half the battle, and then just started going to work. So now we do have DVDs out under the 20-minute body. I have a book coming out on March 24th in stores called The 20-Minute Body as well. And very proud of all the work from the team and getting that out there. Really focusing right now on the book launch, which will, the book it's evergreen. Luckily, fitness books are evergreen. You can, have them out there. People will want them forever. We also have a challenge coming up where people can participate online, and then they can partake in the book. So right now, for my company, 20-Minute Body is the big thing. We will have definitely the DVDs, download and physical DVDs in the book. So excited to do this. It was like giving birth. Ladies, I know that sounds silly, but I'm just being honest. It was quite a lot of work, so very happy with that.
So what's different about 20-Minute Body than other books and videos that are out there?
Well, I'll tell you, the number one reason people don't work out or cook for themselves, and I'm guilty of this too, is they don't have enough time. That's the big thing. Time is so much more, there's a lot of currencies. There's money, there's energy, and there's time, and your time for most people is worth more than money and a lot of other things because there's a very short, limited amount of it. So I wanted to really solve that. That was the big issue that I got from my sister, who's a mom of two, and that was something interesting. I was really starting to work with a lot more moms, women in their early 30s, all the way up into their late 40s and 50s, that were coming to me saying, I got injured doing this program, I don't want to go to curves, this, that, the other thing, and I really listened to them, and that was a big inspiration for the 20-Minute Body, was taking into consideration the short amount of time and the nutrition part, saving time on cooking. So I had two chef friends of mine to make the 20-minute recipes. They are chef-worthy 20-minute recipes that, like, the whole thing, prep to cook and everything, amazing. And I really was thinking of, there were different avatars that I was thinking of, but I was really thinking a lot of the guy at home that doesn't know how to cook and doesn't have a lot of time, and the mom that is a lot of times cooking for the whole family, doesn't want to just cook her dieting meal and then something separate for the family. So all of that was put into that, and I think that is different. The workouts are 20 minutes or less. They can be body weight only, which I think was really important because I wanted someone to be able to do this at home that doesn't need to go to a gym. Dumbbells and bands are included, but you don't have to use them. But I wanted to make this really simple. Simple, simple. Can you do 20 minutes? I can do 20 minutes. You don't have to go to a gym. I don't need a gym membership. Do I need any equipment? No. How long? The cooking, 20 minutes? Boom. All of this stuff was just make it super simple on everybody. It was like the key thing. I think some other big ones were the nutrition approach is called versatarian. So I thought of this. I had a lot of clients, particularly women, that would come in and trying to take them literally, some women, from fast food to quinoa and kale. They're like, what is quinoa? What is that, a person? Who is that? And it's like you can get people to do it, but then the problem is I've done these extreme programs and the people rebound like worse. That is no way for me to leave someone when I know they rebound. That doesn't let me sleep at night. So this was a different approach. The versatarian approach was I studied a Brazilian martial art called capoeira. Can you say that? Capoeira. So you get chords, different chords. Yellow, orange, blue is graduado. It's basically graduate or black belt. So I made each 20-day phase of the workouts in the book. They're 20-day phases, 20 minutes, 20 days, 20 inches. That's the promise of the book. Each 20-day phase of the workouts has yellow, then orange, then blue. I made the phases of the nutrition the same way. So the yellow phase may have turkey tacos, but you have a turkey shell and low-fat cheese. Then you go all the way to the blue phase. There's no taco shell. It's like a lettuce wrap, and it's like 99% fat-free turkey meat instead of 95, and a lot of other stuff. So it's the same recipe, basically, but there's a progression to how hardcore you can go. That's the versatarian approach. That is a big difference than I think a lot of other people take. And I take nutrition really serious. In the very beginning, I talk about nutrition is more than 50% of the battle of the bulge. How do you get people to really lock in and do it? You get them results. That's what you do. If they see results, you're going to get really quick results with people by controlling their nutrition or getting them locked in. Because how many times a week are you going to work out with me? Like as a trainer? 3 times a week, maybe. How many times are you going to put food in your mouth? A day, not a week. So you can see, you know how hard it is to burn 700 calories? I personally have eaten 700 calorie, the cookie. So it's like getting people's nutrition. We really took that serious in the book. And the mental, emotional thing about connecting to your why is a big thing. My company motto is fitness from within. My personal motto is walk your talk. It's all about the inner game of fitness, the inner strength that fitness creates. For me, the physicality of fitness is the shell of the oyster. It's tangible, it's accessible, it's understandable. Want to get a six-pack? Want the gun show? Want to get into your skinny jeans? Want to boost up that booty? That's easy. But the pearl inside is fitness will change your life if you dedicate to it. It changed mine. I went from an overweight kid who was doubting himself, and there was some crazy stuff going on in my life, to changing around, and that is what led me truly into this career, is because it changed my life. And that is why we have fitness from within. That's all good. That is why, there's fitness from within is the company motto, and walk your talk. It's all because the emotional connection that I've had from it. And that is a big other part of the book that, it's not always easy to operate in a medium where you can say that. In the videos, my workout videos, can really talk like that all the time. You're moving and sweating. Book, I really got to talk about my personal philosophy toward fitness from within, and my motto of walk your talk. I get asked a lot of tips on this, and the emotional connection to fitness is really the big one.
That's awesome. So what's a piece of advice you can give somebody that wants to use fitness to change people's lives like you have?
That's a good question. I'll just say that when it comes to these tips, everybody's looking for like an exercise or a diet regimen and what's the silver bullet. I'm gonna be real. The diet and the dumbbell don't get you in shape. It's your belief in yourself and your accountability to your word that do, period. So walk your talk. The rest will follow. So I know that may be a little vague for some people, but it's truly this. When it comes to building inner strength, which is the key to getting in shape and staying in shape, because staying in shape is a lot harder than getting in shape, to relationships, to business, it is all about saying no, especially when you're on the rise. It's about saying no. It's about conserving your energy. It's about picking the right people to surround yourself with, the right things to do. And that means saying no to a lot of other stuff. And when you and your business start taking off, there are going to be a lot of people that want to jump on that bandwagon, and you got to say no a lot more than you got to say yes. Saying no takes inner strength. The fastest way I have ever found to build inner strength is through fitness. Because when you do a good workout, when you crush that set, that rep, you walk out of there with swag and you carry it into every aspect of your life. Period. So walking your talk, it involves taking ownership of your health. Start with something that is in your wheelhouse, not like, oh, it's social media and it's this and it's finance. A lot of people, that's over your head. Hey man, getting to the gym, ladies and gentlemen, taking care of your health, not going out boozing, getting your sleep, having proper nutrition, that is in your control every damn day. Ownership of that, walking your talk there, I'm telling you, the rest will follow.
Awesome. Thank you, Brett.